Welcome back to SlotCarCast, episode 932. Today we're going to be talking about Race Coordinator, setting it up, and using your own custom rotations. That was one of the hardest things for me to figure out, was how the custom rotations work. So hopefully I'll get you started and you can kind of see it the way I see it now, and it will kind of make sense to you. So if you are having trouble with that, stick around. We'll fix that here in just a second and get you up and running with custom rotations. So you should be at least familiar with Race Coordinator, how it works. And I'm going to set up an expert race setup just so we can jump right into it. If you still use one of the other ways to set up your race, it's fine. It'll get you there. I'm going to use a custom rotation on this race. Now, right now, you've got two choices, round robin, European round robin. And it's just a slight difference here, but you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4. These are your seeded drivers. Your top driver in the club is seed 1. Your worst here is seed 20, so we have number of drivers 20, one group that's racing. And if you try to edit these, let's just say you want the worst group of racers to race first. So you would take driver 20 as your worst racer, and you're going to put him over here into the first heat. He's going to be in the first lane. You know what? Actually, I want him over here. I'll put him in this lane. Now I've got 2 in there, and that's not going to validate. If I hit validate, it's going to screw up. So obviously I need to move 19 somewhere. Let's put him here. 18 here. And 17 here. Now that seems easy enough, just doing that. The problem is that you need to go through and find your next heat and make sure that driver C20 is not in the white lane, or and he's going to be in all 4 lanes. He's going to be in, my track happens to be set up red, white, green, and orange lanes. So you have to make sure each driver is in the lane once through 20 times 5, 4 lanes. That's going to leave you with, 5 heats, I think? 5 heats that are going to go. And you can't really see the whole race here. This is the problem for me, was that I would go to validate, and I would always get something wrong, because I could see group 1, but I couldn't see, did I have them in group 10? Who do I got in group 10? I just, okay, group 11. When I click on it, it comes down, I click on it, and it comes down to 12. So it was just hard for me to use. I found an easier way to do this. Let me get back out of here and cancel this. What I've done over here is I've set up a spreadsheet. This simulates what my track would look like in all the heats. So with 20 drivers, I've got what the whole race will look like on one sheet. So in this case, I've decided driver 20. Now in Race Coordinator, driver 1 is listed as 0. He's the top guy. And then I have 20 of the drivers that start with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, goes all the way down to 19. So that's part of the confusion too, is that you don't have 1 through 20 drivers, you have 0 through 19 drivers. So the easiest lanes on my track are green and white. Red and orange are the gutter lanes, and orange is usually the hardest lane to drive in. That, but everybody's going to drive in every lane anyway. But just to make it easy, I'm going to start 19 here, driver 18, 17, and 16. So in these 4 drivers, the best of those 4 drivers, at least from the point standing, or maybe I have a random race at first to kind of set who's the top driver, and then goes down. So in this case, 16 is the best of these. He's going to be in the gutter lane to start. Now, the next set of drivers, obviously, is going to be 15. Where do I want 15? Now I'm going to put him. I'll kind of use the same format. Of course, this is where you can mess around with things. If you want like all of your bad drivers to race in the first 4 heats, and then the rest of the group race, you can do that. It's just, I just didn't want a lot of people standing around waiting for their turn. So I'm going to put this in here. Genius. 15, 14, 13, 12. The best driver in that group starts in the bad lane. Then what's after 12 is 11, correct? Yeah. 11, 10, 9, 8. Ooh, let's put him in a good line here. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. So 0 through 19, that's driver 1 through 20. The best driver is going to drive last. He's going to drive with people close to him in either points, or if you had some kind of race to start it out, a qualifying race, is what you would have. So now that you know this is what all 20 drivers are in a lane, there's no. You can look at this and go, okay, there's no duplicates. You see me earlier screw that up. So just take a look over it and see how it looks. To me, it obviously looks good. Those are heats 1 through 5. So to go to heat 6, I like to start here. 17, he's just going to move over to the white lane. Then he's going to move down to the green lane. Then the orange lane. So basically 17, he's done now. 19, same thing. 19, move there. I'll move here. And he'll move there. 18 is going to move from green over to orange. 18 is going to come back in on red. And then he's going to come in on white. So I'm going to go ahead and get all these drivers in here. Let's see, 16 will be here. He'll come here, and he'll come here. So that your worst drivers now, you've got them. They run first in this like small little group is what I call it, and then this small little group, this small group, and this small group. So everybody's seated, everybody's racing, and they're going to be on each lane. Basically we're going to do the same thing with lines 13. 13, 13, 13, 13. It's pretty easy. 15, 15, 15. Would help if my fingers could reach over there. 14 is going to come from green to orange, to red, and to white. And where's 12? It goes from orange, he comes back into red, green. Now, one of the things, you have to do this for every line. Race coordinator is doing this, it's just you can only see 1 or 2 heats at a time. It's to me, it made it a little harder. If I could see the whole thing in race coordinator, that would be much easier to use. Let's see, where were we at? 12, 11. 11's in white. 11 will come down to green, orange, and then red. 10 will go from green, orange. You can kind of see the pattern on this just to make it. I already put a 10. So I'm going to validate this because I see 2 10s in here. Obviously, I just screwed something up. 11. This should be 11. 10. And we can validate this later in race coordinator. So if you do make a mess up in here, we can fix it. Where am I at? I have 11 and 10. I need 9. 9 goes from red. 9. 9 is easy. 8. He comes in here. 8 goes red, white, green. 7. 7 goes from white to green to orange to Control Z. Control Z. 7. 6 goes from green to orange to red to white. Where's that? 5 goes 5, 5, 5. And who did I skip? 7, 6, 5, 4. 4 goes orange. 4, 4, 4. And let's see, the last heat, 3 will go down here. Orange, red. 2 will go to orange, red, white. And is it on 0? 0 is actually, no, 1. Let's do 1. 1. That's an easy one. That's just diagonally down. 0 goes to 0, 0, 0. Now, I know this is good. I can obviously just spot check it and see if I've made any duplicates. Usually when you're going through and putting numbers like I did earlier where you screw up and you go, oh, okay, that needs to be a driver. Here. So this is the actual text format that race coordinator will use. If you save a race, it will usually save with these brackets, and in the quotation marks here, you have the number of drivers, 20. So obviously earlier I said 20 drivers, and I have 4 heats, 4 lanes, and this is the number of heats we're going to have. Obviously this is 20 heats to get everybody through there. If you had less drivers, so I have 4 lanes, I'm going to probably do multiples of 4, so I'll do 20, 16, 4, 8, 12, and keeping the same number of heats, it'll just mean less numbers and less numbers to put in over here. If you have 8 drivers, you only need 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or 0. Sorry. This is where I get confused again. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And then you wouldn't need these numbers in this section here or this section here, because you'd be making a smaller heat, you'd have smaller numbers. So this document will be shared along with the Google Sheet if you want to figure this out. So then what you would do is you would come over here, and I find it easier to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to break up that first race, or that first group of heats that I've got a divider line in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You don't have to do that if you can eyeball it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I always have a little trouble. I struggle with not being able to see the whole picture, so this helps me here. What I am doing is I'm taking our numbers here. Race coordinator looks at this. It looks at the first section here is the red lane, white lane, green lane, orange lane. On my track, yours may be a little different, but you should get the idea there. So I'm going to change this to 17, 19, 18, and 16. I'm just going to go ahead and pause this video for a second. And what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to change these numbers to match on the right. They're going to match what's on the left. So 13, 15, 14, 12. But you probably don't want to sit through all this boring part. So let me pause it real quick. I'll finish that, and I'll be just back in a sec. Okay, so I have unpaused the video here. At least on my end, it shouldn't have stopped for you guys. So you'll notice 17, 19, 18, 16 matches here. 16, 17, 19, 18. 18, 16, 17, 19, 19, 18. So you can kind of see 3, 2, 0, 1, 3, 2, 0, 1. It's important that you keep all these brackets the same. You only change the numbers. You don't need a trailing number like 0, 3, 0, 4, 0, 5. You just need the actual number there. Don't add anything extra. Keep these brackets here so that the program can pick it up. And once you have this, once you look this over and you feel like, oh yeah, that's it, then remove those spaces I created earlier. Those are just so you can kind of eyeball it a little easier. And then save it to your desktop or save it wherever you want. I've got a special folder here for this. Test rotation 20 drivers. Now, if you look here, you'll notice that I've already set up my own rotations. Basically, I've done the same thing, but I set one for 16. You notice up here, number of drivers 20. So this was 16. Same number of heats, 4. And the reason I do that is because if 7 people show up that day and you have all of these in your race coordinator program and ready to go, it will say, oh, okay, we've got 7 drivers, we better use the 8 driver rotation. But if 13 people show up, then it's going to use the 16. The good thing about that is that race coordinator can figure out what it needs to do, what rotation it needs to grab and use, but you're going to have empty lanes. So if you have 16 driver heat here, but 17 drivers show up, that first race is just going to be one guy racing by himself. Now, if you don't like that, here's the great part about race coordinator. If you don't like that, you can kind of split these up. Like the first, maybe your driver 16 would be, you could put in a exact number, 15 drivers, and then go through your sheet here and make it so there's 2 drivers and 2 drivers and 2 drivers and then 4 and 4, or however you want to do it, as long as you have the right number up here for 15 drivers, 4 heats, and then you start adding them in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 through 0 through 14, because you're going to lose one when you have 15 drivers. So I hope that part of that makes sense. I'm just going to save this as test rotation 20. I'll go ahead and save that, and I could close this. I don't really need to. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a file, and I should have, let's see, where did I put that? Let's see, it should be on the C drive, is that correct? Program files, 86, race coordinator. No, I put that in my documents. Remember I said, don't listen to me. I said put that in my documents. I don't want that. Documents. Did I put that? Race coordinator. Custom rotations. There we go. Whew. So this is my test rotation that I put in here. I'm going to add that one. Now, as I said earlier, if once you get your set, if you have them labeled 20, 16, 12, 8, or whatever your track is, if you're a 3-lane track, it'll be a little different. Add them all. Just take this, add them all, and now you have all of your rotations in here. And that, like I said earlier, the program will pick the right one. So I'm going to remove these. I can't remember if I can remove several at a time. Yeah, I can. Okay, so just for this test demonstration, I'm just going to use this rotation. Now, I can check it. I can't remember if you can validate this or not. No, you can't. You can only validate the ones that come in Race Coordinator. So I guess once you start the race, you'll know if it's valid or not. It'll throw an error on you. So I got, this is going to be my rotation. I'm going to add it. Let's see what I call this something. Test race 1. Thank you for that. Tiebreaker scoring. I'll just put lap none. Let's see if that adds it. Okay, so test race 1 is a 3-lap race. Exciting 3-lap race. I'm not going to use any scoring or points or anything, just so we can see how this works. Hopefully this works correctly. Let's see. Customer update. Okay. Let's close it and see what our test race is. So again, I've got all my drivers listed in here. Your club is obviously going to be different. So I've got 20 drivers listed. 0 through 19 are their numbers. And I'm going to pick my test race 1. Now, this is a demo mode on a single race. If you were going to have a race where you said, I want all the bad drivers to start first, we don't know how to get them in any order because we haven't been using points, then just hold a random race for 3 laps and have it set by best lap time. Guys with the best lap time will be your top drivers. And if it's in an event, you put 2 races into that event, put the qualifying race as the first race, the second race gets seeded by whatever the outcome of the first race is, as long as you're using the event. Here, I'm just going to keep it simple and use it as a test race of the demo. And if I've done everything right, these drivers, 20 and 19, should start in my green and white lanes that I set up over here. So these are these 2 guys. Let's take a look and see what happens here. And if it blows up, I'm going to have to start this video all over again. Driver 20 and 19 are in the easy lanes. 4, our best 3, drivers are in the gutter
2,
lanes. I might have that back
1,
16 and 17.
go!
I should probably come back and fix that, but it did work for this. So let me pause this.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's let it finish and see if we come to drivers 15 through, what was it, 13?
New driver.
Should only be 3 laps. Now let's go on to the next race. So next heat, 15, 14, 13. So there you go. So everything is in order. Everything will come through, and our best drivers will race last. It'll rotate people out. Now, the advantage of using this over groups is that when you have a group race, you have all of your first group race, all 4, and they're going to be in all 4 lanes. So let's just say you put the slow guys in one group, fast guys in the other group. Well, the fast guys have to sit there and watch the entire race of slow guys go through, orange lane, green lane, white lane, red lane. And then they get a race. And then the slow guys got to sit there and watch the good race. So it's almost having 2 separate races. I wouldn't use the groups if you're trying to kind of keep people with driver skill levels together. This is an easier way to do it because the first 4 guys that are the worst in the club, they race together with competitors that are about on their level. They step out, and then the medium guys come in on this, or maybe your best guys if you only have 8 guys. Then your better drivers come in. And every race is going to be different. Just because this might be a vintage flat race that I'm doing, maybe I'm not good in vintage. I'm terrible at GT, and now I'm in the bottom heat, and I'm trying to work my way back up. Every time you get a win, if you're keeping track of points, this is going to change each race. If you're doing a seasonal race, whoever's top standing in the points is going to be the guy racing last in the heat. But everybody's mixed in together, coming in, coming off, so nobody sits around for more than whatever 5 minutes or 3 minutes, how long your race heats are. So I think this works well. Hopefully that made sense to you. If it doesn't, please leave a question or comment on the bottom of this video. Like and subscribe. I don't know how much content I'm putting out. Let's see. Yeah, we're on episode 436. I don't know. I'm just making numbers up. We're really not on that number. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it helped somebody. If it did, great. If not, sorry. Find a better way to do it. See ya.